Yeah.
Okay. Cell phones to silent here.
Thank you.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Over there, Dr. Lula.
Yeah, this is Cisco.
Dr. Noella.
Oh.
Make me feel guilty. I sit there. Oh, okay.
Okay, guys, let's start. Let's start. Everybody come here and grab your seat. Let's start. So we're going to start with this slide. Leaky gut, leaky brain. Okay, this is a very, very important.
I need to know that.
So we're preparing some extra slides so that everybody can have them. Okay. So zonulin is conceptually a very, very important new discovery. It has been identified as a clinical biomarker for many conditions, including celiac disease, inflammatory bowel disease, type 1 diabetes, asthma, multiple sclerosis, schizophrenia, cancer, and the research references are all there. As you know, all mental illnesses have their origins in the gut.
Zonulin.
Okay? So gliadin and intestinal bacteria are the main triggers for zonulin release. And the release of zonulin tells us that there is a leaky gut. Right? And so, if you look at that picture at the top, it says zonulin is a protein that can open tight junctions protein, right? So, remember when we did the presentation on the GI? In the GI, one of the things in the GI is about the tight junctions, because this is the way the cells are. These junctions are very tight. So this is the stomach, the gastric area, and this is the bloodstream, and this the cells, right? So this layer, it's a one cell layer. It's a very tight junction. And the reason it is tight is that it's protecting all the bacteria, the toxins that are here from penetrating into the bloodstream. Okay? And what they do is that this junction is broken open because this junction is made of protein. Okay? It's a very important issue. That's why most Americans are sick. So zonulin is the protein that can open tight junction proteins. Okay? Is that making sense? So we're going to walk through this slowly. It's really very important that you pay attention and follow this.
Only one question a moment. Are we trying to have them tight or open up?
Tight.
Well, but it says it can open them up.
Yeah, but that's why zonulin is a measure that you have leaky gut.
Oh, you're not trying to get them open.
Yeah, we want it. Yeah, so it's a clinical biomarker that tells us that it is open.
You got it, yeah.
Right? Okay. So it was discovered as a failed attempt to develop a cholera vaccine. So now let's walk through this zonulin and the leaky brain hypothesis. So when you see those numbers there, those are the research papers that support this. Okay, number one, zonulin release. Release of zonulin is triggered by endothelial cells exposure to gliadin and pathogenic bacteria, right? So the bacteria comes in your food or in your water or in all of that, and then it is released, right? Are you following me? All right?
Yes.
And where does the bacteria come from?
Your food, your water.
Yeah, your chicken that you didn't wash well,
Toxins, all that.
cheap sushi, right? Salads that you didn't rinse, right? Because you thought the people at Walmart should have rinsed it for you. Since you're lazy to rinse your own salad. Zonulin stimulates the opening of tight junctions. It increases intestinal permeability. That we're really at the core of the issue. And almost every American has leaky gut because of what we're going to talk about, right? And increased passage of stressors into the lamina propria, into this whole area. There are a lot of complex diagrams that will show you what actually happens as they penetrate, right? And it gives us a lot of very difficult things there in brown. I'm not going to go into that detail, right? So now let's go to number 2. So when this bacteria has penetrated, what happens? It triggers immune response, right? Number 2, immune response development of leaky gut. Increased exposure to those stressors triggers immune response and inflammation. Now you see the source of chronic inflammation. So every time you drink the dirty water in the restaurants, every time you eat the lousy food that is rotting in your refrigerator, because most of you cannot smell bad food, and your mother said you shouldn't throw food away. So if there's bad food in your refrigerator, you want to eat it because you are really trying to save $2, right? A vicious circle develops where inflammation and tissue damage further increases intestinal permeability, leading to even greater passage of stressors, therefore perpetuating the cycle. A lot of people go to restaurants and take leftover home. That's the most dangerous way of you getting sick. Trash the leftover. Why are you taking it home? The food already has bacteria, then you go and now carry it in your car. The bacteria is multiplying. Do you know how much bacteria multiplies in 10 minutes? Billions. And then you take it home, and sometimes you forget it on the nightstand, and then the next morning you put it in the fridge.
Take for lunch.
Oh,
Experience.
for lunch.
Do you get that? This picture is coming clear, right? You're not actually saving any money. You're just saving the time when you're going to be sick. So we need to be really careful. Or we go and eat guacamole and we don't know how much mold is in the guacamole that was smashed, right? Or we go and get smoothies and we don't know how much rotten fruit was used in the smoothie, right? It's not like they did it in front of you and you checked the quality of every fruit. You understand? Or whether it's orange juice or whatever it is. And we don't even know whether they washed those containers that the morning or they cleaned it, right? Or ice cream, that's the worst one, right? The bacterial architecture in the ice cream machines is disgusting. That's why they close down a lot of ice cream shops. I'm just trying to say that's how we get bacteria, but we're eating it, it's sweet, and we think, oh my God. Or you go into a restaurant, would you be open for some dessert? And they bring the ice cream to you. You know, there's one thing I don't take anymore in restaurants is ice. The ice containers in most restaurants have bacteria growing in them. And most people are taking their hand to collect the ice and put it into your glass. And most of them didn't wash their hands from the bathroom. I'm not trying to scare people. I just want to give you the reality of people thinking that, oh, I'm tidy, I'm good. And you're collecting a lot of bacteria, and all day your systems are fighting to just keep this thing under control, right? So the stressors, right? So sorry, let me finish that. The altered immune responses and increased inflammation in the gut also interact with the HPA axis, and neurotransmitter metabolism. The HPA axis is the whole stress architecture, right? So now, see, we're now connecting with the brain already, because that inflammation and all that bullshit going on has challenged our stress system and our immune system. So earlier I was talking to my staff. It's always good to remember the 6 physiological systems we work with: the immune system, the cardiometabolic system, the GI system, the musculoskeletal system, the hormone system, and the stress, right? The stress architecture, which is the HPA axis, the hypothalamus and all the connections around that. So everything that we are doing, so immediately you can see that the immune system and the stress systems are compromised already, and the GI, and therefore chronic inflammation is in place because the stressors are continuously attacking the system. So you begin to think, why am I so tired? There is a battle raging in your stomach. So people begin to have autoimmune diseases and all those other illnesses begin to crop up, right? The stressors enter the circulation, including xanoline, TJ proteins, antigens, pathogens, toxins, because what happens is that they now open the 5 freeway across that membrane. It's not a freeway. So all the toxins now have a roadmap in. So I just want to talk about this because a lot of our patients, when they come, because our first intervention here is to repair your GI for everyone. I've been repairing mine for over a year. That's how long it takes to repair and get your GI function. And how do you know your GI function is in the right place? You begin to consistently poo twice a day, number 4. Consistent. Twice a day, number 4. Consistent. Not, doesn't matter what you eat, you're pooing twice a day, number 4, or once a day, number 4. That's a strong indication that this GI and your poo is the same color and the same smell, and it's regular. Actually, after some time, your poo stops smelling. Cleans up. Do you get that? That's how you know. So if you go to the bathroom and it's like an atomic bomb, right? Can you imagine being married to somebody who produces atomic bombs? Right? Right? Or you're dating a woman, right, James? And she goes to your bathroom and you're like, wow, man. Should I be thinking about exits here or what? Right? Or you have a boyfriend, right? And the guy goes in and you're like, shit, man. There's no way I'm going to be able to tolerate that for the rest of my life. Okay? And so the inflammatory cytokines and antibodies enter the circulation. Do you see that? This is really the beginning of chronic illness. They're now in the body. And now they can go anywhere because the bloodstream takes them everywhere. That's really why the GI architecture is really the most important architecture. Do you understand? So your probiotics, your prebiotics, all the foods and the proteins we're giving you for maintaining gut integrity is really your number 1 priority for health. That is the front line for the battle. So everything else that we're giving you, if you don't fix your gut integrity, you have this challenge. Now let's go to really the main agenda number 4, the blood-brain barrier dysfunction. Right? We've understood leaky gut. The gut is leaking. Now we're going to leaky brain. So the BBB includes, that's the blood-brain barrier, includes endothelial cells and tight junction, right, cells. The cells that come from this debris, right, when it's broken through. Astrocytes located beneath endothelial cells prevent entry of unwanted molecules across the blood-brain barrier. So I was just reading today, they said there is a simple test to know whether you have leaky brain. So we have a supplement called GABA. They say if you take GABA and it doesn't affect you, because the GABA molecules are very big, it means that you don't have a leaky brain. But if you take GABA, then we know that you actually have leaky brain, because the molecules are big and they can penetrate.
Is it a pill or what?
It's a supplement. So it's a good test to test whether you have leaky brain, right? Zonulin from the blood binds to zonulin receptors on the blood-brain barrier. Zonulin stimulates opening of the tight junctions. Now, you see that zonulin that started here? It's now gone up the bloodstream to the barrier, right? You know the blood doesn't enter the brain. You know that, right? So there is that division where blood reaches and there is a barrier, and that barrier now only accepts the omegas, right? Because all of the brain is all fatty acids, right?
Is it the same kind of cell structure?
Yes, it's a one cellular cell structure, yes. So the zonulin stimulates the opening of those tight junctions. Similar to what happens in the leaky gut, stressors including zonulin, TJ proteins, antigens, pathogens, toxins are now in the brain. Right? Now you begin to think that it's because your father didn't know math, that's why you are lazy in math. You can't find your keys in the morning because you think, oh yeah, I'm just a bit forgetful. Right? Your brain is compromised. And then number 5, we have immune response and neuroinflammation. So that's a different kind of inflammation now. And this is where scars begin to form in brain tissue, and multiple sclerosis and all the other things begin to arise. Okay? Increased passage of unwanted molecules. So think about it. They created a freeway through your stomach and your intestines, and then they created a freeway through your brain. So everything is like, wow. It's like, you know those ants, when they navigate and they create free passages. There's a free passage now, and then you keep going to McDonald's, and the thing is just flowing to your brain, and you're getting stupider and stupider. You keep wondering, why are Americans getting dumb? That's what my European friends are always asking. What happened? Right? Fast food culture is killing us. Everybody's getting stupid. Right? I'm serious. That's what the Europeans say. They can't imagine what happened here. Right? The immune response is stimulated by microglia. A vicious cycle of increased passage of stressors and inflammation develops, leading to neuroinflammation. Neuroinflammation can also impact on brain communication with the gut and HP axis. Chronic neuroinflammation has been associated with various conditions, including mood disorders. That's what Dinah is rating upstairs. Alzheimer's disease, autism spectrum disorders, dementia, schizophrenia, cognitive decline, and mental fatigue. Short-chain fatty acids may reverse detrimental effects on brain cells. Probiotics may also be beneficial. So I wanted to start with this page so that you understand the seriousness of what we're talking about. Any comments, questions on that? Okay, are we really clear now about the GI function? So if you're not taking your probiotics every day, and if you're not really taking care of the quality of food that you're eating, or the quality of the water, and all of that, that's what's happening. You understand? And so that's something that you need to start working on. And we have a lot of products that can actually help repair the GI, right? So those are the kinds of things that we're going to explore ultimately.
I have a question. If you're on those kind of probiotics, doesn't that help reverse the aging process?
Overall, because it actually optimizes brain architecture. Because once you're healing, you see, the problem is that with this healing, as she was saying, is that we want to put the right bacteria population here. And that right bacteria population is going to ensure that at least the bad bacteria don't accumulate and cause problems, because they're the ones who begin to erode, right? Including things like gluten, and that's why everybody is now talking about gluten and all of that. But if the attack is persistent, then xanolin is released. And xanolin now is the clinical biomarker to say you have leaky gut and also leaky brain.
How do you detect the xanolin? Blood test?
Yeah, it's a blood test. Yeah. Okay.
Is that part of the Boston Heart, those tests?
No, it is not. But we can also look at the measures of inflammation. So we use some of the inflammation markers instead of measuring directly xanolin. That's a test I want to institute ultimately here. Okay, so let's look at the case of diabetes. So a lot of people come to diabetes and they have issues of comorbidity where they have other illnesses. Because don't forget that diabetes, let's just understand this, guys. Diabetes is a complication of what we call cardiometabolic system. It's a series of complications. In Western medicine, they identify like, oh, you have high blood pressure, you have diabetes, you have this, you have that. Typically, it's a combination of things that starts over a period of about 20 years. And really, for type 2, as we all know, it's a persistent buildup of insulin resistance over time because of the overwhelming presence of glucose in the bloodstream. That's at the core of it. Or just eating a lot of sweet food, carbohydrates, and also an immune system that's already compromised. So over time, the system begins to overproduce and start dying. The beta cells that produce insulin in the pancreas begin to die. And so the blood sugar is just floating and causing a lot of damage in the bloodstream. Because we don't know, just keep drinking the Coke and the sugar in your tea and the fruits and everything, and it just continues, right? And then we also have the genetic predisposition, which is like either your mutations or your type 1 diabetes that is actually your inability to produce insulin. So what are the underlying mechanisms that are actually pushing diabetes? Look at those underlying mechanisms. The atherosclerosis, right? The tightening of your blood vessels. The microvascular disease, insidious ischemia, right? A lot of people have microvascular complications, right? Like cold feet, cold hands, because of circulatory challenges. Yes, and neuropathy begins to develop. The tingling and all of that are actually signs of microvascular disease. Or glucose toxicity, right? Because as you start building insulin resistance and the pancreas are dying, there's a lot more glucose in your bloodstream. That's why we do that glucose test. So there's advanced protein glycation and oxidative stress. Then there's the insulin secretion or breakdown of amyloid. And then you see what the things begin to lead to: vascular issues, aging, Alzheimer's type, because we now know that Alzheimer's is a type of diabetes, and then it leads to dementia. You see, in my village, nobody had dementia. I don't remember any of the old people in the village not being as smart as our little kids that were running around, right? Most of them could do my homework. In America today, how many people in their 60s and 70s can do elementary school homework? They don't have the capacity. I'm talking about elementary school homework. Most people, even the young people, I go into a store and I say, I'm buying this, and this is $5.30 plus $3.20. And you see they're like, they don't know arithmetic. Right? And they don't know how to calculate change. Do you understand? That mental acuity is just not there. People's brains are dying. Right? There's just the ability to hold things in their head. Okay, this is 530 plus 320. They're like, oh my God, where is the machine? Where is the machine, right? Where is the machine? So let's look at the healthy status and stress and disease. So we're going to start at the bottom, right? So if you have normal gut microbiota, right, we normally have the physiological levels of inflammatory cells and mediators, right? That's natural. We're going to have challenges in the stomach area because nobody can say I eat perfectly and my gut has no bacteria or no toxins. It's not possible, right? But if you have normal gut microbiota, it's going to deal with it. That's really why you need the GI. I mean the probiotics and the prebiotics. So what are prebiotics, James?
Well, I think they're stuff you, probiotics, prebiotics.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, prebiotics is fiber.
Oh.
So that's why it's always good not to take your fruit or any of the vegetables smashed, right? Because they give you the fiber is necessary for the bacteria to work on. It feeds the bacterial population. So when you take the prebiotic and your probiotic, the colony that it creates in your stomach is a very rich colony. Fiber is an important aspect of creating a healthy microbiota. Is that making sense? So every time you eat, so they're saying eat vegetables and eat this and eat that. They want to create that architecture where there's fiber, proteins and carbohydrates and everything there, plus the bacteria that is going to work on that overall process. It's a very important part of the digestive process. So for example, I was showing you what I take in the morning. I don't take my prebiotic and probiotic in the morning. I take that at night. That's really the supplement I take at night. And I mix it as a drink because my probiotic is the 250 million in a pack, 250 billion in a pack, plus the prebiotic. I take a scoop of that, and then I might take something else add on that. That's the first glass of water I take when I get home. And then I drink a couple more glasses before I go to bed. Okay? So if you look at it, so that's the normal gut physiology if you're doing these normal things, and then you have a healthy central nervous system function. But if you look at the other side, when you have intestinal dysbiosis, somebody on my staff tell us what dysbiosis is. Hello, Google it.
Imbalance of the microsystem.
If you louder,
Yeah.
what's dysbiosis?
Imbalance of the microsystem in your gut, so bad bacteria grow more than
Did you hear that? So typically, the bad bacteria is in the ascendancy, right? The balance should be normally 60 good, 40 bad. You need both. You cannot just all have 100% good bacteria. That's why every day you take the probiotics. Because in the process of digestion, the bad bacteria overwhelms the good based on your diet, right? But if you have a healthy fiber diet with healthy proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, then you don't have dysbiosis. So when dysbiosis happens, right, you begin to see you're going towards C, number 5. Number 6. Number 7. You see that? It goes into diarrhea and dysbiosis, and now the bad bacteria. And when you go to the toilet, we can hear this orchestra begin. Boom, 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 boom. Right? And the conductor is like trying to hold back, but the bass band is unconstrained, right? In the production of your music, right? And so you have increased levels of inflammatory cells and mediators, right? Dysbiosis is an obvious sign. It happens if you're not taking probiotics and prebiotics. It's going to happen, even if you're on a keto diet. Okay? So very important. And that leads to what we call abnormal gut function. And then we have alterations in behavior, cognition, emotion, and nociception, right? So this is the issue I really want to get to. A lot of us think that we get home and the husband beats the wife, or the guy goes to the office and takes the gun and shoots his teammates, or somebody who's always irritable, or somebody who's always angry, and we think they're bad people. They just have bad guts. That's where all of it comes from. Yeah, there's some people who are really evil, right? I don't know where that architecture comes. I think that one is genetic. But for most people who are irritable, who are in a bad mode, who are angry, who are pissed off, most of that comes from the gut, right? And most times they don't even know why they're pissed off. I know why I'm pissed off when people don't get the job done, right? So mine is valid. If you piss me off, then, yeah, because I measure it. There are some days I wake up angry. Then I know I have to take my supplements, right? But if the anger is created by a frustration or irritation, then I know where the source of that is. So if you're angry and you don't know the source, then something is wrong in your gut, right? And I noticed that since I started taking supplements, my driving has changed. Seriously. I'm more relaxed driving now. I'm not really interested in people being in front of me or behind me, or somebody cut me off and pissed me off. They used to cut me off, piss me off, and I take them off the road. Oh yes, I'm a bad driver. You mess up, I'll take you off that road. And I follow some people and really smash them. There was this guy, he broke his axle on the 57 because he pissed me off. This is like 4 or 5 years ago. I was driving the Porsche. I overtook him, went in front of him and stopped. And as he was trying to stop, his car just, the axle brake, and I took off. And that was his punishment. And you could see the one tire falling off. Yeah, when your car is not good enough and I stop dead at 60, and I'm watching you, what do you think is going to happen? So you're like on your brakes and the car just rattles and falls apart and I'm gone. Punishment for bad driving. I used to do that shit. I don't do it anymore, perhaps because I don't drive the Porsche. But anyway, I don't do that anymore. But then I look back, because the other day I was really look back thinking, oh wow, at least I drive to LA, you didn't see me do any crazy shit, right? I used to do some real crazy stuff. Because I drive these powerful cars, right? So I know nobody can play with me. Right? With their little cars trying to like get ahead. So, but I realized that, wow, my driving has just changed. I'm not that irritated by people pissing me off on the freeway anymore. I'm not really even pissed off with them. You understand? So it's because I'm cleaning my gut. I'm not irritable with all the stuff that is around me. You understand that, guys? It's very important that we take a sense on that. Okay?
Move to the next page then. 2 questions.
Yes.
So one is, one I asked what's nocipian something or other.
Reception.
And the second is,
I don't even know what it is. Somebody should Google it.
you said it with a lot of confidence and moved on. So it's like, okay.
It must be something with the brain that, yeah, Dr. Noel might help me there. Go ahead, Google it,
We
guys.
weren't taking pro and prebiotic supplements. Where did we get them before?
You would typically get it from certain foods, from your diet.
Okay.
Like yogurt, like the things like fermented foods.
Okay.
So in Africa, we do a lot of fermented foods.
Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of sauerkraut, yeah, cheese.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah, it's from the
Perception.
perception.
Yeah, that is short.
Nociception.
Huh?
Nociception.
No perception.
Nociception. It's how you perceive.
How you perceive, yes, exactly. Like I was saying about drivers, right? How I perceive what they are doing to me. These people want to get me, so I need to get them first. Vengeance, the world of vengeance.
The way they said it, nociception triggers a variety of physiological and behavioral responses and usually results in a subjective experience of pain in sentient in human.
That is it, because when those people overtake me on the ramp, I can feel the pain in my body for vengeance. Can't you feel it too? You can feel it?
It says the signal travels along the chain of nerve fibers via the spinal cord to the brain.
Oh yes.
So from the spinal.
Yes.
That's
I can
why you
feel vengeance and death flowing through me. Like punishment needs to be meted out to these bastards.
Signal starts with the gut.
So you have the head.
You understand? I don't know whether it's only men who have that, but you know, it's violence. You know, it's breathing inside of you. You want to like kill a few people.
The hair trigger.
Yes, exactly, right?
Fear from your spine.
Yeah.
Travels to the brain.
What was your second question?
Well, that was about pre and probiotics.
Oh, okay. So you get that from, let's just talk a bit about that. So you want to get that from a lot of, you need to eat fermented foods. So I love cheese. Mostly the fermented soft cheeses, not processed cheese. I mean, most of American cheese is bullshit cheese.
Yeah.
Don't eat that. So you need to eat cheeses that you can tell from how much they smell. The soft cheeses are very good, the bries. You know, you want to eat cheeses that really have bacteria in them, active bacteria. Or there's some yogurts, not sweetened, that have a lot of active bacteria. Yeah. So that's how normally you get them.
The kimchi in the Korean is the kimchi and things like
It's
that.
good, yes, yes. But every culture has fermented foods, right? The Filipinos have fermented foods. They do fermented fruits, right? Anchovies, exactly, right? That smelly Vietnamese sauce, yeah, very smelly but very tasty. Okay, so that's how naturally we were getting it. In every culture, we were doing fermentation.
Get enough in daily that's
Yeah, but when you eat from nature, you're getting bacteria actually also from the foods.
Yeah.
You understand? Now that everything is clean room engineering, we've engineered everything so that everything is perfectly clean. Then we got everything from the soil, right?
Right.
Like on the farm, we would just take the carrots out of the sweet potatoes and eat it on the farm.
Yeah.
And we were fine.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, you get that? Okay. All right, let's look at the brain. And so again, this slide just talks about the same thing, that the microbiota is really, you know, there is this TED Talk that I would like you to listen to. And it actually said that there are close to 4 billion bacteria in our body, 4 to 5 billion. And our body, our whole body has about 1 billion cells. So there's more bacteria in us than us. So the TED Talk was asking whether are we us or are we the bacteria colony?
Yeah, that's true.
Do you see the point? So is the bacteria colony controlling us, or are we controlling the bacterial colony? It's very interesting talk. Listen to
It
it.
depends on if you have candida severely, it controls you.
Yeah. So it was saying that because because there is this example of this bacteria that goes into this animal and forces the animal to drown itself. They show it in that talk, right? It makes the animal thirsty, and so it goes into the water so that this bacteria can spawn. So the animal actually drowns itself because it's being controlled by the bacteria. Do you see that? And so when I'm out for revenge on the freeway, is it Charles or is it bacteria? No, think about it. Right? So there's a lot of discussion now in research that are we actually us or are we controlled by our microbiome? Right? So if you look at its influence on neurotransmitters, stress, anxiety, and mood behavior, it's affecting our brains, right? Very challenging, right? The last slide doesn't really, I don't know why I put it there, but I can remember at some other point. So I just want to close by summarizing. So let's look at a number of key points. Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry. You guys can take it and read. Let's close on a couple of points. So number one, it's important that you understand zonulin, right? So let's just clear some things. So number one, we want to reduce the toxic load. So that's number one. We want to reduce this load that's coming into the stomach, right? So you want to really look at the quality of food you're eating and where you're eating and who's preparing it. For example, one of my rules when I travel is that I only eat boiling food. That is soups. That's the only thing I eat outside, because that's the only thing I am sure is properly cooked and has no bacteria. It may have toxins, but I know it has no bacteria. And I only drink filtered water, right? Or bottled water or whatever, right? When I travel, full stop. I don't eat salads outside, except I go shopping and I buy the salads and everything and I wash at home and I make it myself. I don't eat salads in restaurants. So one of the reasons is, how do you reduce this load? Number two then is the prebiotics. Number three is the probiotics. Number four are the outcomes. I cannot remember the last time I felt bloated or gassy, right? Because those are all the signs to show that there's dysbiosis, right? Where you feel bloated, you feel sleepy in the afternoon, right? You feel that tiredness, you know. I used to want to have a nap every afternoon, right? It just got to a point, okay, I've been awake since 5:30. And when I get home around like 7:30, 8 o'clock, I'll be in bed. That's my routine, because tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. I'm playing tennis, right? So I want to make sure that I'm sleeping well and I'm staying alert. Very important. And I can just sense my brain performance. I'm serious, guys. This is serious. And my retention capacity just seriously increasing, because I'm really managing that very well. Right? I'm only drinking water that's filtered. It's very important that you start thinking about, how do I reduce this load? Because even if you have the leaky gut, you want to reduce the amount of stressors that are penetrating. Is that making sense? Then you want to create that microbiome environment that enables the healthy bacteria to thrive, right? So what we even do with the probiotics, you should have about 3 kinds of bacterial populations. So typically what I do is that for some, James, we haven't done that for you because there are price constraints, you should have 3 kinds of probiotics, and you change them every day. You switch them around so that you repopulate the microbiome appropriately. But at least taking one is better than taking none, right? And then I have the prebiotic that I also take because sometimes I don't have the fiber to eat. Oh, I'm bored, I don't want to eat fiber. Like, I will eat a celery, I'll just grab it from the fridge and eat it because that's very good fiber, or an eggplant or a carrot, right? You just need to have that stuff around. So if you're famished or something, or you feel like slightly hungry, you eat a carrot, right? Or an eggplant. In Africa, we eat a lot of raw eggplant. Do you guys eat it here raw?
No.
Sometimes.
You don't eat it raw? Why not?
Only eggplant.
It's very good. He said it's not Africa.
Carrots and celery, yes. I love carrots and celery.
Yeah, celery is very good too. So, but you need to wash it very well because there's a lot of bacteria inside. You have to wash it, rinse it properly. So, and then you want to then be checking when you wake up in the morning, how do you feel? And so when you take your probiotics at night, around 7 a.m., you must go for your first release. Because the body during the night, right? And then around midday, you go for your second release, right? Or in the evening, you go for your second release, right? So you're watching your stomach. How is it playing out, right? Is there any growling? Is there strain? When you go, how does the poo flow out? Is this soft, deliciously enjoyable experience, right? You want to read the newspaper and do all your text while it's coming out gently, right? In a good mood. Why are people shy when I talk about poo? You see, I come from Africa. Nobody is shy about poo. Everybody is what everybody else does. You know, you come to America, people are making like, I don't poo. Everybody does it. So why are people...
Do you poo?
Well, you're not eating right.
But no, there is new technology now for people who are struggling with this balance. They actually can do colonoscopy and implant poo into your stomach to rebalance it. People who are suffering from this problem. So they can actually repopulate, because a lot of people struggle with that. Yeah, they are depleted. Do you understand? And they can't hold anything in, and they actually have to re-inject somebody's poo that has a more diverse population. And who are the people who have a lot of these problems? Are people who were born through cesarean, right? They don't have a really healthy populated gut architecture, right? But some of us just through diet and just stress on the system. So it's just very important that you look at this and then you think about how the source of your food, what you're having, and how that's going to really affect your brain, right? There is no other way that we can feed the brain. That's the problem. Because everything has to go through the blood-brain barrier. And that barrier accepts only very small molecules, right? And fat-soluble molecules into the brain. That's the only thing that the brain allows. So your omega-3s, so June was just upstairs talking to me about the omegas, and she said she doesn't take fish oil. So I was showing her some plant-based omega-3s that I take, POEs. I think it's on my desk. Can you somebody bring it for me? It's a small black bottle. I think it's on my desk. Oh, it might be inside that box on my desk. Is it there? It's plant-based omega. Omega-3s. Did you find it? On that box that I put on the brown box, the white box. It's a little bottle. So I wanted you guys to look at that. So you need to be taking extra fish oil omega-3s every day. It's really critical for you. Yes, that's the bottle. So this bottle is $100.
Wow, expensive.
Supercritical POs is pure parent essential oils. It's $100 for this bottle. Yeah, this is the best omega 3, 6, and 9 fatty acid. It's high potency. So I take like a teaspoon twice a week. It's very expensive oil.
Oh, very little.
Yes, just a teaspoon. Yes, because it's really pure high potency. Yeah.
Lasts that long.
Yeah. So, but the reason is because. So what do they say here? Supercritical POs contains fresh, cold pressed organic omega-3, omega-6, and omega-9 essential fatty acids in an optimal PEO ratio. Each spoonful delivers the nutritional power and energy of 8 remarkable seed oils. Supercritical PO is a superfood for body and brain and can be taken to support repair and recovery from many of today's health challenges. And sorry, it's such a light print, I can't read it. Right? But so that's an alternative to your omega-3s. And a lot of people go and buy omega-3s from Costco, and it's
Not good.
obviously
It's produced.
it's rancid. You can smell it. If you can smell it, it's rancid. Fish oil should not smell. It should not smell fishy. Thank you. And that's why I rarely eat sushi. The fish and the shop have to be prime. And the price will tell you. You go and eat cheap fish and you eat bullshit. You're just taking bacteria into your stomach unnecessarily. And seafood bacteria, very dangerous. Can kill you like that instantly. You're gone. You understand that, guys? So stop eating cheap sushi. You know, Americans love cheap shit. I've never lived in a country like this where people like cheap shit. Everything has to be cheap. Everything, Walmart, everything cheap, cheap, cheap. You work hard, then you put cheap shit in your stomach. Isn't that amazing? Then you go and buy a Lakers t-shirt for $100.
Or sneakers.
Do you see the stupidity? And the Europeans are like, why? You buy $100 stupid t-shirt and then you want to buy $5 meal. Do you get the point? So you treat your body as if it's trash, but then you want to wear the Nikes or the t-shirt to really look good. To who? First of all, you know, nobody cares how good your t-shirts are. Nobody cares. Isn't it? But your body cares that you're putting crap inside. So a lot of people will say it's too expensive, and then you look at them, but you're wearing a Nike. So what is expensive? Right? But that's why I love Asian restaurants. Like Dimitri and I today went to have pho. I introduced him to the Thomas Beard pho restaurant in Orange County. And he was drinking the soup like a Vietnamese. Right? He enjoyed himself very well. Okay, guys, any questions? Thank you for being here tonight. Thanks, James. Go ahead.
So if you have leaky gut and so forth, and you do it, so let's say you do kind of most all these things you're talking about, you begin taking a probiotic, you do all these steps, about how long should, on average, it take to repair and get into a normalcy?
About a year.
Okay.
With regular detox. It takes about a year
Thanks.
of real focus.
Yeah.
Then you maintain.
I'm sorry?
Then you maintain.
Then you maintain. Exactly.
That's a long time to heal.
Yeah, because that's why, at our age, the doctors start putting their fingers and all that shit up your ass, looking for polyps.
Yeah.
And I don't do that shit because I'm cleaning my gut. When you do that and you clean everything, all those polyps, all of it looks perfectly pure. 2 years ago I did it, it was all pink. No polyps. You know that's a big problem, above 50, right? You need to start doing colonoscopies every year. That's the Western medicine. Every year or every 2 years.
10 years.
10
10
years.
years.
No, not for above, that's not what it says above 50.
In the stomach,
10 years.
every 10 years.
Really?
They
Yes.
find something, then they do it more frequently.
Oh, okay, that's not what they told me. Perhaps I had very good insurance
There's a
then.
new test.
They said I should do it every year, and I'm like, I don't want you guys in my ass
There's
every
a
year.
new test right now that you just do the swab.
But the point is that, so if you don't want to do that, clean up the gut.
If you want to have energy, you don't feel good.
Yes, and then you repopulate the full system, from the stomach to the small intestines to the ileum to the large intestines. It repopulates itself for maximum absorption, right? So you address all of those underlying issues around that. So the frequent detox is also, so for example, daily I take metalloclear and I've started taking sulforoclear. So the metalloclear clears the toxic load. Clears the toxic load. And yes, it's, at least you should. Because we're exposed to it daily. Is that, which one is that? Yes, so do we have metalloclear also? So that is the sulforoclear. So I've started taking that. It's a unique combination of broccoli ingredients and supplies standard amounts of glucoraphanin, an active enzyme to help support sulforylane production. Sulforylane is a potent activator of the body's own antioxidant and detoxifying enzymes, and is responsible for many positive health benefits associated with broccoli consumption. So except if you're eating broccoli every day, that is not grown in the Central Valley with toxins. All right, so we're challenged by a lot of things in life. But so this is really important that if there's one thing you're going to do, fix your gut. That's the message for tonight. Thank you guys. Any other question?
That's great.
No, are we good? Did my staff get it too? Raven, you got it?
Yes, I took
Yeah, go fix your dad's gut.
Thanks, Charles.
Yes. No alcohol, right?
No,
Yes.
Just
And no sugar, no soda.
no soda.
Okay.
Tea. I've been drinking tea,
Okay, that's good.
sparkling water. I know.
Oh, it's, how does it feel?
The water's good, but the lemon, I got the one with the lemon.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really good. I
Yes.
had some here on Saturday.
Yes.
It was good. Number 4.
Improving?
And before it'd be a week, and now literally every day. And I'm like, yeah. So
You see, it's happening. And then all of a sudden your brain is like lightening up. I mean, I was looking at your eyes now, I'm thinking, my God, Louis looks really sharp.
And happy.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. I put it in my office. Here, Yara.
I go online. I had to share to all my friends on
And they're listening to me
I don't
cussing.
have to make them make the account.
5 years.
I don't have to make them
Good,
by next
really good.
Thanks, my friend.